Welcome to the Dive Bar, the second episode of Last Call with my boy Reason. If you are seeing this right now, then we are only a few hours away from our live show in Miami. If you can make it, see you there. If you can't, it'll be right here for you as usual. So catch it here, 7 to 9:30 Eastern time, or see you at the live show. Anyways, Sunday was rough. A lot of stuff's come out this week. We got to talk about Waller injuries. There's a lot to talk about, but let's just get right into it.
I'm putting the helmet on as always.
The opportunity is right now.
Terrific defensive play. Intercepted. Off the back. On the move. Going deep. Speed race. He's got Hill. He's got Hill. The Dolphins have recaptured the lead.
Well, that didn't go like we thought it would, huh?
Yeah, not at all. Egg on our face.
Oh, man. So we were here last week. So much confidence, smiling faces. We're still smiling, but we might be laughing now. But
Crying on the inside.
dude, first reaction, what do you think after Sunday?
The thing I keep saying over and over again, and I keep pushing, I guess, is my takeaway was this. It's one thing to look unprepared. The way we looked unprepared, that looked like a team in week 16, 17, 18 that knows they're not making the playoffs, and the coach is starting to go in one ear and out the other with people on the coaching staff and players in the locker room. That's the level of unpreparedness I saw. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing, unprepared would be like you come out, you're slow to get in the rhythm in the first half, but you find your groove in the second half. And it took this team, 53 plus minutes to score. And even that scoring play, right? You're pushed back to the 11 on 4th and goal because of what? Too many men in the huddle? You're getting plays in late where Tua has to cut off Tyreek's motion. And then that leads to, people missing IDs on free rushers because you're not getting the plays in on time. And then your play that Achane scores on, thank God he became a power back on that play, because if he didn't drop his shoulder at the 3, does he get in? Your big grandioso plan was a swing pass out of the backfield with basically Tanner Conner as the blocker upfield from the 11th yard line. Like, that's crazy.
Dude, I think that what upset me the most was one, it's not even that I'm mad about it. That was so bad that I'm just like disappointed. Like, we heard so much shit about culture change. We know all these guys' jobs are on the line and all this shit. And that's how you show up week one. Like that, your boss has to talk to you and says, hey, you're not going to be able to feed your family if you don't pick it up. And the next day you show up late. Reason? No, you don't. So that blew my mind that was their first impression as to the fans, that this is what fighting for your job looks like.
Yeah, then that was your first impression since Tyreek quit on us. And that's why I tweeted out, if you're Stephen Ross, how are you not seething right now? I mean, you, within 30 minutes of your superstar wide receiver quitting on your team, you put out a statement and backed all these guys up. And that is what they reward you with. Take the fan out of it. If you're a guy like this who's invested billions of dollars into this team and cut so many checks, A, how are you not over their shoulder watching every move, especially since you threw your weight behind them after Tyreek quit? And B, if you are that, how are you letting Mike McDaniel get to the podium? Because this is to the point where you got to rip the Band-Aid off. Like me and you were talking about it before we went live. They lose to the Patriots this weekend. Are they really going to fire this guy on a short week and put Weaver at a disadvantage out of the gate? Like, this is crazy. Like, so now what? If they lose this week, they're dead men walking heading into week 3, and it's just, hey, put your head up and fight through it. Like, that's ridiculous, because 3 losses in the NFL, especially in the AFC. I mean, those add up, and you could be looking where even if Weaver comes in and does a great job, we could be looking back to the start of the season being why this team missed the playoffs again, even if things do turn around under an interim head coach. So that's where I'm at. I would have left him in Indy, and if that is the deal, that on a short week you're not going to fire this guy, and we lose, let's say, in Buffalo and New England, brother, I'll leave him at Barbill Tavern, bro. Go eat some wings, brother. Go get us some wings. Run in. We ordered a bunch of wings. Go grab them. And when he comes out, we're all gone, brother. We're already on the plane out to Miami.
There's a smoke cloud.
Yeah. Like, that's where we're at. I mean, I've been ready for change since we were 2-6 and 2-4 last year.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
and hey,
I'm
this is
over
actually
it.
something I don't know if either one of us have talked about this publicly, but we both heard chatter during that time that a lot of players are out too.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too messy at the time right now, but like, dude, after that Arizona loss, it was a mess. And another thing I'll add is about Ross. He ain't getting any younger. And that was his thing. He didn't want to start over, so he really went all in with this group again. He'd already pretty much went all in my opinion. So this is like a double down.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be thinking he's like, what in the hell? Y'all boys talk me into this shit again, and then you embarrass me like that to Daniel.
That's what I'm saying. How are you not reacting? Like,
they're kumbaya over there, man. They think it's all good, brother. They're hanging.
One thing I heard consistently over there when I was down there for camp was Ross and Greer love McDaniel.
They all, clearly they all love each other. They think it's all good. That's got to be tough though. You're sitting back. That should have been, by all accounts, an easy, just nice stretch into the season. Roll over the Colts, man. Roll into week 2. You're back at home against the Patriots. Another favorable matchup, but here we are. I mean, that was just terrible.
Yeah, I'm literally at a loss for words. I mean, what's there going to be say? The offensive line looks like it's going to be an issue again, and I'm sure we'll get into the injuries and stuff that have now piled up for it. Still not knowing how to beat the too high look, right? Still can't establish the run under the too high look. And then let's be honest, the defense. I've talked about that Bills game in week 9 at nauseum about how good Tua was, but our defense couldn't get a stop in the final 45 minutes. Our defense allowing 7 touchdowns on 7 possessions? All I know was
they scored in all 7.
7 scores on 7 possessions. Not touchdowns, but 7 scores. What was that? The first time this century that the Dolphins,
a quarterback has done that. I think any team.
Yeah, it's the first time this century since the Dolphins have allowed that. I know that. And
Jesus Christ,
I know Daniel Jones was one of 5 quarterbacks ever to have a passing touchdown, 2 rushing touchdowns, and like 200 plus passing yards on opening day. Like only like 5 other quarterbacks have done that before. Like we made the guy look like Andrew Luck.
Dude, he did look good too. Whether it's because the Dolphins suck or we're unprepared or whatever, Daniel Jones looked really good. I hate to say it, but he looked really good. And wouldn't you know it, as fate would have it, Xavier Howard got his hands on a football.
Yeah, that hurt.
And then he absolutely cooked to it after the game.
Yeah, but there's the thing, dude. Like, this guy's talking about, like, and I saw their defense talking about the middle of the field. Like, I watched the All-22. Middle field was all open. I mean,
Waddle.
Like, there was plays where the middle of the field was open and Tyreek and Waddle were breaking to the second level free, but the offensive line, the pass rush was giving the offensive line and moving Tua off his spot so he couldn't make the throw. I mean, there were instances of that in the film, like, and then there were instances of Tua getting good protection and just absolutely dropping the ball. You know what I mean? Like, so, I mean, like, you look at that fumble, right? You look at that strip sack. I mean, that was, geez, like, I don't know. It's just break. Like, that's the thing. Even if Tua bounces back this week, there were so many problems on both sides of the ball that it's like, we got issues, brother.
Well, that's why I try to tell people. They're like, well, let's go beat the Patriots and I'll feel a lot better. I'm like, will you? I don't know. Like, it's probably going to be an ugly game. It's against Vrabel. So even if we win, it's like we're talking like a 2013 win, we're still going to feel like, dang, this really ain't kicking. Like, I don't know. Like you said, there's so many bad things. There was so much bad that game. I don't even know, like, what do we talk about to, like, where do we go from here? What do we approve? Because it was that bad. Like, there wasn't anybody who didn't deserve blame. Like, it clearly was like, I don't know if the team got off the bus.
Oh, bro. And, like, look at some of the coaching and personnel decisions. I'll give you some on both sides of the ball. That same play we were talking about with the strip sack where there was a big play over the middle to Tyreek or Waddle that the protection didn't let us get to. Why is Achane, and it wasn't the only time, why is Achane taking on rushers coming off the edge and then DeForest Buckner later on in the game coming up shooting gaps? Like, what are you doing there? And I'll give you another example. Defensively. Dude, why is Kenneth Grant dropping back into coverage? Like, that's
dude,
not his game.
Everybody keeps bringing that one up, dude.
And you know who's a disaster? You know, especially when you watch the first couple of drives, Storm Duck. Like, do you remember on that first drive for the Colts where, you know, it was either a post or like a C route? I forget what Warren ran, but he ran the route and he runs the route, and what happens is Phillips is the flat defender, so he's taking Jonathan Taylor underneath. But Storm Duck, instead of realizing he got safety help over top and taking, you know, because he's in the zone, taking Warren, he instead runs with a man that the safety has, and the tackle happened like inside the 15, and it was Minka. It's the one where Minka came over and laid his shoulder on Warren. Dude, Minka recognized what was happening, and that wasn't even his assignment, while the guys whose assignment didn't know what the hell he was doing. Like, Storm Duck looked like a 4 or a 5, and you were putting, you know, the weight of a 2 on his world. Like, the personnel usage, it was questionable at times too, man.
Well, how about Willie Gay got 0 snaps after talking and glamoring about this Willie Gay package? He got zero reps. And then also what was crazy, somebody else brought this up. It looked like Storm Duck didn't understand how cover 2 worked because they were in cover 2 and he was chasing drag routes and then having to come back. I was
talking about was yeah.
So like that, or maybe it was miscommunication on the field or what, but yeah, there was like, he would chase his guy to the middle of the field. Then they throw to the flats where no one was now, and they'd have to all rush back over here. Dude, it was a mess. And then Bradley Chubb talking about, oh, we're out there just all freelance and doing our own thing. What the hell does that even mean? No one was telling y'all what to do. Like, what are y'all making your own plays? Like,
yeah, I don't know. You don't want to hear that Chubb basically implying guys are out here freelancing.
Week 1, brother.
It's culture change.
Culture change. Week 1. That was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it was pain. That's for sure.
Oh boy. Well, let's talk about this injury report a little bit. So, I mean, no big surprises. Obviously, we're going to lose James Daniel for a month at minimum. He goes to IR. We also lose probably Austin Jackson this week with a toe. So the right side's gone. That's awesome. Got that going for us. But I will say, Patrick Paul looked the part. I mean, he didn't allow one pressure all Sunday. Jonah was okay in the run game. I thought he kind of struggled in pass a lot.
He did.
His losses came in the pass game, which we did expect that after the preseason. That's kind of what we kind of knew it was in for. Now the Waller news today. That I'm not gonna lie. I think that he's not gonna end up playing it down for the Dolphins at this point.
So let's start with the offensive line. Yeah, Patrick Paul was probably the best player. Joe and I would agree with that. He had one bad whiff. You remember how we got stuffed those 2 runs in a row earlier in the game with Achane? One of those were on him because he took the wrong man, and the man in his assignment then came across the backside and shut it down. But for the most part, him and Paul were creating lanes in the run game, and you saw that's the strength, right? But we expect the pass pro stuff because the man. Listen, now you know why I wanted Armand Membo or Jonas Savaianaya. I didn't want Jonas Savaianaya to be a left guard.
Right.
If people followed me, I wanted Jonas Savaianaya to come here and play right guard, and not if, when Austin Jackson went down, you can kick him out to right tackle, and you got a guy. This is another example of our coaching staff outthinking yourself. James Daniels was already proven at the NFL level at left guard. He's played both guard positions. Why not kick him next to Paul? And you have because one of your main jobs with rookies as a coach, Bobby, is to what? Is to make the first season as easy as possible and them as comfortable as possible in what you're asking them to do. Why are we asking him to do something he's never done before when he's been steady at right guard and right tackle? And he's not the athlete. He's a good athlete, but he's not the athlete Armand Membo was. You know, when you make those switches from the right to the left side, I usually say you got to have two things. You got to have it up here, but you also need that athleticism to match because that transition can happen quicker. Jonas Savaianai is a good athlete, but he's not like damn near elite like Armand Membo. That's why you saw Armand Membo look so good when they switched him to left tackle, right? And, you know, because you got that athleticism that can make up for your mistakes. How many times do you see when he oversets or he overreaches and now he's chasing and he doesn't have the athleticism to clear it off, right? So you're seeing those, and you saw that in the preseason. So, again, and now where are we at? James Daniels and Austin Jackson are both out, and we've got a deal. You could have spread your leaks around. Now you've got both leaks to the right side.
Yeah.
I mean, good luck running the football to that side, bro. You know, like, and that, you know, and look at Keon Smith. Why is Keon Smith regressed? Because they've moved him around so much. At least they're not moving around Jonas Savaianai, but at this point you might as well. I mean, the scary thing about the Austin Jackson injury is this is the same toe that kept him out almost all of camp. Like, am I the only one who sees this as a lingering season issue? And this is we're back to what I said. Why did you restructure this guy? He's not Teron Armstead. You would put up with Teron playing 10 to 12 games because he gives you Hall of Fame, Pro Bowl level caliber play at the position. This guy isn't even half of that player. And you didn't want to touch the Tua fund and restructure that, but you want to restructure the guy who's hurt more than he is, and now we're on the hook for what, $16 million next year for this guy? Are you crazy? And then now Darren Waller. I mean, dude, you guys got rid of Jonnu Smith, all right? He had the best season for a tight end ever in Dolphins history, and you hung your hat on Frank Smith's suggestion, and now you're basically out here, McDaniels, implying we might never see him as a Dolphin because they might have to do what's best for the team. Like,
that's also funny too to say it like that, like it's your choice. Like you're doing was like, dude, what's best for the team is if we had a tight end out there. Not that if y'all chose a guy that was a dice roll from the get-go and he didn't pan out and never made it to the field.
Dude, and Greer's got to answer for this stuff once again. You restructured a guy with an injury history. You brought in James Daniels, who doesn't have a extensive injury history, but recently he's been injured. Obviously, we know about the Achilles and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And now, I was waiting for the torn pec. Thank God that didn't come down.
Yeah.
You've done all this, and you brought in Darren Waller, who had an injury history when he was in the league before he retired. You brought, and where are we at right now? Again, another season where the guys you try to convince yourself somehow the vitamin D from the sun in Florida is going to make sure that these guys stayed healed like Superman, and their injury history is just going to poof vamoose disappear, and you get bit in the ass for it right away. Like, it didn't even take long. You know what I mean? Like, and now here we are with arguably, I'll ask you this. Do the Miami Dolphins have, with what's projected to be starting, because of how bad that offensive line on the right side is, do they have the worst starting offensive line in the NFL this year? At least this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be close. I mean,
at least this weekend. We'll say this weekend. Because Jonah, we love him as a run blocker, but we know his flaws as a pass pro.
He's still a liability in some sense.
Yeah.
I like Paul. I love Aaron Brewer. I think Aaron Brewer also had a really good game.
That's 2 of 5, brother. We're not even at 50%.
And look, I'm a strong believer in this with the O-line. You probably agree. You can't have one weak link in the O-line. If you have one, they will find it. We have 3.
Now, I used to talk about Richmond with this on our podcast all the time. You can get away with one link. It's when you start dabbling with more than one link, you can't plug multiple holes.
Or cover it up or give a good second guy.
You're still going to have issues with that one weak link, but you can mask it with the guys around them if they're good enough. The problem is when you start getting multiple weak links, that is really hard to mask no matter how good the rest of the guys are. And we're at the fact that we like half of our offensive line because we like him as a run blocker, but not thrilled yet in pass pro with them. So let's count 2.5, including Jonah.
Yeah.
Right? That's 2.5 leaks we got to make up for. And are Aaron Brewer, Patrick Paul, and the run blocking aspect of Savaiana's game all pro levels that are going to make up for that right now? No, they aren't. Like Patrick Paul might be a top 15 left tackle by the end of the season, but that sure looked like that. But,
you think we get Bourne or Lamb?
It's going to be Bourne.
Bourne, because he's been here longer?
Yeah. This
all season at least?
Yeah. And, dude, and not even just pass pro, like, how are you going to run to that right side?
Dude, tell me this. I'm not saying it's going to make up anything or change anything, and it's no miracle they went and got. But Cole Strange, you think he could possibly get that right guard spot pretty quickly?
I know he's going to have one of the top selling jerseys.
Dude, 69 Strange. Dude, that's incredible. Dude, that thing is going to do numbers at fraternity houses.
Especially in a rival jersey, bro. We got to talk about that, releasing the rival jersey stuff after that.
Dude, that's a tough sell. And dude, I give them credit. They got in there and freaking spammed the timeline with it regardless.
And they signed Strange, correct me if I'm wrong, they signed Strange to the roster, not to the practice squad, right?
They had to because you can't steal off the 53 and let you upgrade.
I think after a couple of weeks, if he looks okay, he's got legitimate starts under his belt. Now, I think he was a third or fourth rounder who was massively reached on by Belichick.
Of course.
And right, he started off.
You remember the Rams joke, right? When the press conference?
Yeah, oh yeah, McVay laughing at him.
And we thought the guy was going to be available at 105.
Yeah. But I think that another thing that's happening with him too is he's another guy who started off at guard and he's been moved around. With the Browns, they had him at center. So, I think you got to lock him in at one spot and you got to develop him. But, at this point, do I think Cole Strange is going to save Mike McDaniel's job? And
that's not what I'm trying to say, but it is intriguing.
But I'm saying that's where we're at almost right now.
Yeah, and that's what I am saying. Like, at this point, now, if we just picked up Cole Strange last week, I would have been like, okay, maybe he's a depth piece. But now you're like considering who he's competing with for playing time. Yeah. This guy really might just be thrusted right into the lineup.
Well, isn't that scary too, that a guy who has all the experience in this system in Daniel Brunskill, they're starting Keon Smith over him? Tells you what they think of Brunskill, huh? That
is interesting. Honestly, I hadn't given it much thought just because Brunskill's been flying under the radar all offseason, I feel like.
Yeah, because he hasn't been good at camp or in the preseason.
That was your boy, bro. What's happening? That's your boy.
Dude, yeah, 2 years ago.
Hey, yeah, I know. That's the thing about this. We always get these people 2 years after we wanted them.
You know what I mean?
Like Judon. It's yet to be seen, but he had that one good hit. But like Judon would have been a lot nicer 2 years ago. But
that's when a part of me, and I didn't say it on stream, and I should have. A part of me knew we might be in trouble when Judon laid that hit, and it didn't even phase Daniel Jones, and I was like, "What the."
They just jumped up and scored anyways. It was like,
you know what I mean? Like, but I did show, and I know people are like, "Yo, you're just coping." I don't know if you saw it. They were getting away with blatant holds on Chop Robinson.
Oh, dude, the whole first drive, there's multiple.
We're talking not even sneaky ones grabbing the outside. No, we're talking turning the guy around and grabbing the nameplate.
Yeah, and cross face. Yeah, going cross face, spinning around.
It's nuts. So
I kept saying that, and not to defend the team, but I kept going, look, we're getting our ass kicked here, but they're missing some blatant holds.
The key one was on the second one. They had a big time hold. The most blatant one on Chop was on the second one on the second drive. It was 3rd and 3. If we would have got that call, you push him to 3rd and 13 in a passing situation, and you can get off the field still only down 3-0, and we can finally get some momentum, which we needed. And nope. And that was another thing, man, and not a lot of people have talked about this. God, I wish Razul came down with that football. We needed anything at
Oh,
that point.
dude, his
you know?
first snap on the field.
But it felt like our back broke with the Judon running into the kicker. That felt like it's over. There's just no coming back from it. Like, we were gonna get off the field again. It's over. Like,
That was
pack
kind of
it
like a
up, boys.
prank. We finally get something going. We almost get the interception, and then we force a punt. It's like, okay, maybe the second half we're gonna have a little energy here. Run into the kicker. It's like,
Dude. And
right.
why is this guy flag happy every year he gets here, but he doesn't throw it for Tyreek's catch? Like, you lose every challenge. Did it get to you? Because you would have won that one, bud. Tyreek caught that ball.
Luckily,
So,
we bounced back from that. The next play, Achane got back into
26
the
yards. Yeah.
yeah.
But
So
still, bro, like, dude, you got to start winning small battles at this point.
yeah. No,
Jesus.
it's still
you
a
know?
miss. I mean, it was a miss. It didn't end
It
up
was just
costing us in the grand scheme, I guess, but
Yeah,
nothing really mattered at that point.
like,
But
how do you take 12 men in the huddle on 4th and goal, bro?
no, how about using a timeout for a 2-point conversion?
Yeah, because again, this guy's so late getting play calls in, right? Like, Tua literally having to stop Tyreek's motion and line him back up because there's no time because you're getting the play call in late and you got 83 motions pre-snap. And, the name of the play is as long as the Bible. Like, it's crazy, dog. Like, man, if Bevel or Frank Smith took over play calling, they'd just simplify the hell out of everything.
Yeah,
They'd be like, dude, but McDaniel will never allow that to happen.
No, that's a moot point. We've talked about that over and over and over. It's like everybody wants to talk about it. It's like it's a conversation that needs to be had, but it's not going to be had. So like, we can move on. It's like there's enough to argue about, guys. We don't need that one. It's a moot point. Yeah, the pride. He doesn't think anybody can do it better than him. You're just not going to happen.
Not even just that. I said to Richmond in ball game, the problem is if he allows one of those guys to become the primary play caller and things turn around, he has now created a threat that makes him expendable.
Yeah.
Remember, Frank
Smith
was interviewing for the Panthers job, right? So, it's not just Weaver you might have to worry about. If Frank Smith were to come in and turn around the offense, why do we need you, Mike?
Yeah. This is also true.
And you don't want that, and I get it. We all think about this, the logo, but he ain't thinking about that. This man's thinking about his own job and his own ASS. You know what I mean?
Naturally.
So, yeah.
Well, let's talk about the Patriots a little bit. Patriots, another team that didn't look that great week 1, and they played a bad team, or I wouldn't say a bad team. We don't know what the Raiders are going to be yet. A whole new staff. Gino's there now, but they got beat by Gino and the Raiders pretty handily. Not a great game, but they didn't look great week 1. We're obviously favored. I feel like this should be a bounce back win, but like for me, it's like we can win this game, and I'm not really changing anything about my mindset. One, because obviously we know we're going up to Buffalo next. We're going to see what really is going on. But also, it's like that week 1 loss was so bad. This is what I told the guys on our show. I need like 6 weeks at least before I even consider trusting this team again. Like, I need a big body of work. Like, that was so bad. 1 week cost them 6 weeks of my trust. Like, and it might be gone by week 6. I'm not saying like by week 7, I'm back in, but like, I don't need to just see them beat the Patriots or go up there and at least don't look handicapped against the Bills. Like, go up there and lose by single digits, please. I'll take a 9-point loss to the Bills. Just don't go up there and get manhandled. But I think I need to see a stretch of work now to even believe or want to believe in this group again.
Yeah, isn't it crazy that even if they went on the road in Buffalo, I said the same thing. I'm not buying back in. I said the same thing as you. I need to see more than that. It's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of crazy how much trust they've lost for people who even tried to be, there's people that have been far more positive than me and you about this team, and even them, they feel like, they're almost out on this. You know what I mean? I don't know. With the Patriots this week, though, Drake May didn't look that great. He looked okay. He threw for almost 300 yards, but he had to throw the ball like 40 times.
Yeah.
But you know what this is going to be? This is going to be the fantasy breakout week for Trayvon Henderson, right? as their star running back. Stephon Diggs is going to look like a number one again, and it won't be, Kayshon Boutte or Hunter Henry leading the team. And you know what's about to happen, brother. Like, we've seen this story before. Like, now, the only thing that has me reserved on being fully out on them this week is Tua's undefeated against the New England Patriots.
But not Vrabel.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting to me. That can be a way for Tua to get some trust back.
Well, the problem is with week 1 is the book's already out on how to beat our offense again.
Well, they didn't change anything. They just brought the same book from last year. They're running it back. Like Billy
That's
Madison.
What I'm saying. The book's out again. That they didn't change. They didn't make one single adjustment. Let's go.
Jesus Christ.
So it's going to be interesting. And what's crazy is we're in year 4, still waiting for McDaniel to make that adjustment.
Well, I'll give him credit. He got the cheat motion came, and it worked for like 9 weeks, and then people caught on to that and had to adjust to that. So I give him that one. But it's been damn near 2 years now, and this dude's just like, this is what our offense is. I got nothing.
And what was your list? 2 ideas long? Like, that's it? Like, in anything, here's the thing. In anything, whether you're a salesman, whatever the case may be is, you always got to innovate in what you're doing when there's competition for your job. Because you got to stay relevant. Let's use wrestling as an example. Let's use a guy like Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho has been in this the mid-90s, but the reason why he keeps staying relevant, whether he goes to Japan or AEW, whatever, is because he keeps reinventing his gimmick. He keeps reinventing himself. And that's what coaches have to do. You have to constantly be reinventing yourself. That's why when you have a great idea, to your point, it gives you the first 9 to 12 weeks to come up with that counter
the next move
for when they figure that out. And we can go back to us as a Wildcat team. Imagine if you could have been able to keep yourself afloat for the first 12 to 14 weeks. Or you could have gotten to the playoffs and you didn't. Dude, think about this for a second. If you could have been good enough, right, where you get to the playoffs and then you debut the Wildcat in the playoffs, would we have won a Super Bowl? It took the league like 14 weeks to catch up to that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about that, right? But that's the problem. When you don't have a second trick up your sleeve and you show your hand too early, now what?
And that's what some guys were saying. Is like, McDaniel's got to work on his counter move. And I said, he does. But here's the thing. What separates the elite coaches is what you're saying. It's not just your counter move. It's the move ahead of the counter move. You have to know the next move. It's like when you play chess, you're thinking about the next few moves. You're not just making moves right now. You're like, okay, if I go over here, he's going to bite over here. Then I can take his king or whatever. It's about knowing where you're going after they try to overcorrect to get to your first adjustment. And he was like, oh, big brained him, got him, and just sat back and was like, look at us. And
but
it's
isn't the logical and reasonable way of thinking about it, isn't it, okay, this is what I'm creating to beat them. Okay, now that I've created that, I know how to beat that. So this is what they're going to do to beat that. And if I know they're going to do this to beat that, how do I beat this? Okay, now I figured that. It's like creating a chain, bro. And the thing that is so mind-boggling is you were the seed of that. You were the one who created them needing to counter you. So how do you not know what the counter is going to be for what you're creating? That's like creating a monster, not knowing how to kill it, and just unleashing it on a city and be like, yeah, someone will figure it out. You know what I mean?
right. Like if you write the code on something, then you know it's downfall. You know, like how to stop it. You know the weak spot.
exactly. Like, and yet So you should know how to counter that weak spot that's going to be exploited. You should be able to exploit the exploitation of that weak spot. And we have yet to see that. And what's crazy is in the first 2 years, I remember that was a topic of conversation, at least on my channel. Oh, I can't wait to see what McDaniel's counter is. Oh, but now it's at a point where I don't even talk about it anymore because I know it ain't coming. The second coming of Christ is coming before this guy's adjustment.
Yeah, I think another thing that comes with your staff, I think you need to be like, you're doing the cheat motion. You're in the middle of doing the cheat motion. You need to be going to your defensive staff, Coach Weaver, or at the time, Fangio. Okay, yeah. Fangio, what would be you see this offense, what would be your strategy to stop it? That way we can work on the next
players.
Yeah.
Like Ramsey, right? Like,
yes.
You need to be picking their brain. Okay,
you see this coming.
Film. What are you seeing?
Right. What's going to be your game plan to stop this now? Everybody knows we're doing it. What would be your strategy? How do we stop my offense? That way, okay, as soon as they start doing that, then they're going to be vulnerable over here. We got the backside or whatever. You're like, dude, it's not that complex. And I'm not.
This is why he needs to be the overseer, not a play caller. He's too overwhelmed, dude. This is why he needs to be the overseer.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're in too deep, bud. It's like, I use this analogy. Like when you started your company, all you could afford was Ryobi. So you bought all the Ryobi. Now you want to go DeWalt or Milwaukee. But the thing is, you look over on the shelf, you got 20 Ryobi batteries, and you're too deep. You're too deep. You can't switch to DeWalt because you already spent so much money on 20.
And you got an exclusive deal signed with them.
There you go. So I think, there's a lot of things McDaniel did right that other people hadn't done right here, like putting a real brain on the other side of him, not being prideful, and like going and getting a real brain. Fangio, it didn't work out, but he did it. He was willing to do it. Like Flores, my downfall with Flores is he never would put somebody that was smarter than him on offense. He wanted full control, like too much. I feel like if we could have got a McDaniel while Flores was still here, we might have seen something special, but it was almost like Flores was too scared of that, putting that on the other side of the ball, because they knew that somebody would be able to tell him,
"Whoa,
no, that's not that's not how we do things."
Remember when he knew and found out that Boyer and Crossman were rising up against him, he did the same thing, and just in a different way. He took the safeties coach and isolated himself from everyone, and he wasn't even letting people in on the game planning. It's kind of the same thing where, okay, yeah, I'll game plan with you guys, but when it comes to calling the game and calling the plays, I don't want to hear anything. It's me, and he's gonna be the violinist going down the ship with the Titanic. You know what I mean? Like, that's just what he's gonna end up being.
Yeah, and that's where we are, and that's why I don't spend too much time talking about it. It goes back to the play calling. Like, McDaniel is who he is. Like, I think, for better or worse, that's just who he is. That's the animal he is. He's tink. Yeah. He's drinking his Red Bulls. He's up at 2 a.m. and he's like all day long just getting his hands in as much shit as possible. Yeah. And that's who he is. Mm-hmm. So, like it or love it, that's this is the ride we're on now, boys. All right. I think that's a great time to call last call. Final thoughts, predictions. Who do you think brings us out of the ashes this weekend, Reason?
I mean, I would like to, my heart says they're back at home and Tua's going to bounce back. But to your point earlier about Vrabel, we got another guy who's going to see that tape and salivate.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Do I think we're more talented than the Patriots? Yes. Do I think McDaniel can outcoach Vrabel though?
Bro, that talent's got to get off the bus, too. We're more talented than the Colts. Them boys got to show up, play football, man. Dude, the other team was ready to play football for 60 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'll take 16-13 Patriots.
Oh, God. And a long week of problems on the timeline.
Look, hey, at least I'm getting ahead of it.
Hey, you had it here first, baby. Come back next week. Look, I'm taking the Dolphins, but like I said, I think it's going to be ugly. I don't think you're going to necessarily feel better about one side. Like, the defense might have a good day just because the weapons aren't necessarily there, and there's not like a lot to worry about with the Patriots. I could look like an idiot next week because we said that about the Colts. But I think we hold them down. I think we get some people show up. Look, nothing worse than being embarrassed. You know this. I remember I would never fight somebody in school unless I got embarrassed. My best friend tripped me in front of a bunch of upperclassmen women in school one time, and I got up and just punched him. I would have never hit my best friend, but he embarrassed me. Them boys got embarrassed week 1, and I do want to see how they react. In fact, if they don't react after being embarrassed like that, we'll know exactly where this team's headed, and we'll know that this team has already given up, and there's bigger issues than we even know. So I'm going 2013 win. I don't think it's going to be beautiful. I don't think the offense is going to have a bunch of fireworks or anything like that. I do think it's going to be a dogfight. You're not going to feel like you won, but we're going to get back in the win column, and that's the most important thing. And then you're just going to feel real mix of emotions headed into Thursday, not knowing what kind of storm is headed your way. And I'm going to say, just because he normally does.
Trayvon Henderson and Drake May legacy game incoming against his defense.
I'm going with a Waddle legacy game. He always gets his against the Patriots.
Brother, that guy makes a big catch and looks like he got hurt. Thank God he came back. I was like, oh my God.
First catch he finally gets a catch. And yeah, he's headed to the sidelines. Man, the Waddle, the ifs and buts, right? If we could talk about the ifs, we're not doing this. Last call happened already, guys. The lights are on, the music's off. Get your woman to get the hell out of here. Dude, the ifs and buts of this team will be a 30 for 30 one day.
Brother. And you know what it's going to be called? If ifs and buts were aqua and orange candy and nuts. That's what it's going to be called.
And don't forget a little side of Under the Sea, which was, looking back now, that was a terrible slogan.
What, the show they're doing?
No, what is this uniforms called?
Oh, yeah. But no, you know what I said? Their show, Under the Sun, they're going to rename it. Notice an episode didn't drop this week, by the way. But
we were talking about that.
Yeah, you know why? Because now they're under the gun. That's the problem.
Yeah. Under the microscope, something for sure.
Went from under the sun to under the gun, brother. That's exactly where it went.
Well, Reason, good talk.
Have fun in Miami.
Appreciate you, brother. Wish you could be there, obviously, but don't forget,
next
guys.
Year if we do it.
Great plug, Reason. Next year for sure. Yeah. Tonight, back here on the live chat or on the channel, or if you're in Miami, come show the boys some love. Come hang out 7 to 9:30. Reason, appreciate you coming through, brother. Another good talk. Wish it was on better terms, but appreciate you.
I appreciate you, bro.